right now is the best time to buy a pre-built PC, which is crazy to say because the market is terrible. What am I saying right here? Well, normally people would buy custom or build custom PCs, buy all the different parts that they want, which allows them to customize as they want, hunt deals, like hunt little bits of deals and slowly over time accumulate the parts and put it together and build it. That was a really neat thing and potentially save money. You can't do that anymore because prices are crazy. Doing that doesn't actually save you money over getting a pre-built anymore. Another benefit to pre-builts is that you get one coherent warranty. So rather than putting all these parts together and then if something goes wrong, you have to troubleshoot it, take it apart, send in that product for RMA, this is all one. So if something goes wrong with it, HP has support. You can actually chat with them. They'll support. And if it's not fixable, you send to them, they deal with it. Very nice. It's also plug and play. The product arrives to your house, you press power and you're gaming. You don't have to build anything, you don't have to take anything apart. So the previous benefit of pre-builts being easy, simple, amazing in that regards is still there, but they're also cheaper now. Case in point, this is a loaner. HP sent this over to me. This is an HP OMEN 45L. This is mine. I was actually just about to buy one of these. I was thinking about it. I don't know if I was actually going to, but I spec'd it out with an RTX 5090 and it ended up being almost the same price for the entire system as it would have costed me to buy a 5090. So I was like, what? It almost didn't even seem real. And it's true, like there's all these other people who got it too. But they contacted me and they said, I'll send you one for review. I was like, all right. So because the way that I operate, I don't always go for handouts. I'm looking to do collaborations. So I bought this one for myself. HP is a really good partner. They sent this over to me to review. Unfortunately, it has to go back. I could steal it, but that's probably a bad idea. And I was like, you know what, let's enhance this review. I'll pick up one for myself, which I'll use for myself anyways, and then I can do a comparison. So we're gonna compare the 45L here to the 35L, do a little bit of a comparison. Which one is good for you? They're both good, spoiler for the video, but they're both different. So let's jump into the specs, see which one may be best for you. Okay, so let's have a look here at the HP website at these different OMEN desktops. Now, I don't focus on pricing here because it's very dynamic. I get people who look at it and be like, the price is this and that. The prices change all the time. There's sales, there's not sales. They go up and down. It's the market. And the market is not great right now. Just be aware, the HP OMEN 45L in my searching constantly for tech deals is the cheapest way to get into a 5090, period. I have seen, look right there. I have seen, that's the price of a 5090, by the way. The 5090 is like a $3,500 GPU in this market. Just be aware of that. That's the cheapest way to get into a 5090, and that's pre-coupon, right? You can put this up here. HP does offer coupons as well. So if you really want to get into a 5090, I'm going to tell you straight up right now, the HP OMEN 45L is the best way to get into that for the lowest cost and get a respectable machine. But let's just see what we have here. So this is the Intel variant. 5070, 5070 Ti, 5080, 5090, and two different CPU options, 265, 285K. If you plan on doing a lot of heavy, I'd say professional type work, then Intel is going to be very fast and very good. And of course, it's not like you can later down the road upgrade these as well, but these are really good CPUs here. And for gaming, of course, the 5090 is going to be really targeting 4K gaming, at which point the CPU is not that important, to be honest. Just, it is not. Lots of different RAM options in that too. So that's Intel. If you're going to be targeting specifically gaming, there are the two different AMD models here. So this is the more professional focused AMD model, 9950X, 9900X, 9700X. And then there's the X3D variants of AMD over here. So you can get a 9800 X3D. So if you're doing pure gaming, that's what this is for, pure gaming. That's a great CPU. The 9900 X3D starts to give you a little bit more mix. That's what we're going to be using today. You can do gaming and professional work, 12-core CPU. The 9950 X3D is when you're going to be doing a lot of professional work and a lot of gaming. You get the access to the X3D and you get access to a 16-core CPU. So just be aware of that. You can go up to a 5090 here as well. So that's what we're looking at here today. We're looking at essentially this combo right here. And then RAM, again, spec it out how you want. You can increase the power supply. So like I said, this is the cheapest way to buy into a 5090 on the market right here. There just is no cheaper way to do it that I have seen. Okay, so here's a look inside the two towers side by side. Obviously you can see there's a pretty big size difference. This is a full 8, well, they're both capable of fitting, big graphics cards and all that, but this is an ATX style case, full ATX, large case. I'd consider this like an MATX style case, kind of in between, like a small MATX and a big MATX and a small ATX case. It depends on your personal preference. I always lean towards the little ones when they're on my desk, like on top of my desk. When they're under my desk, I don't care. I'll just get the big ones because whatever, they're going to be a nice monster under there. So you can see they have very similar designs though. So let's actually look at the inside, externals and all that. But generally speaking, I've reviewed actually this OMEN here, but a slightly different 45L. I have the review on my channel. So it's a little bit different in terms of design. We can see here, this has a little bit of a different design principle than the one that I've already done. If you've seen my review, This one has the glass front. This is the most modern design. So it has the glass front there, which feeds in there. The previous OMEN I had was like a stealth version, I guess I'd call it, and it just had like just the fans were right in the front feeding it in. So slightly different design on the outside, but they're very, very similar systems, the ones that I reviewed. So we can see here on both of them, we have this glass piece here. So it looks like it's gonna block air, but it's really not. We'll just bring this one in, right? Because you actually have just air. So it's gonna, this is a huge, centimeter right there on each side. It has no problem sucking air in and then just putting it in there. So this is just like a design element. It's not gonna restrict airflow. Like it shouldn't make any difference. It's just for design, really. So that's that there. And then the rest, I guess, is basically going to be the actual specs. Like this is a bigger system, so bigger motherboard, bigger parts, et cetera, et cetera. But now that we have that out of the way, these ones here you can get with AIO. I actually recently had one with an AIO and a 5080. This is the 4070 model, 4070 Ti model, so a little different, but this one comes with air. Depending on which CPU you get, as you spec it up, you'll get into AIO, like this over here. Just depends which model you get. This one can have both, so there you go. On top, obviously, as a result, we have just kind of that grill there, which can fit an AIO, depending on how you set it up. This just pops off, and you can put an AIO in there. You can see there's screws, well, you might not be able to see. Can you see my finger there? Yeah, there's AIO holes here. So you can mount fans or AIO on top if you decide to. And of course, there is lots of room in there up top for an AIO, lots of clearance. For USB-A, these are the fast ones down here. You can see there, 5 gigabit. Here, they're separated out. We have 10 and 5 there, both good. USB-C, 10 gigabit, so they're both gonna be fast. Here, good for like NVMe enclosures. You get 110 and 1.5. They're both good though. Like this is, SATA SSD style speed. I have a little, I don't know, like a SATA SSD external thing that I use for gaming. Goes in there. NVMe enclosure type stuff there. Very good. Your general outs there. Ethernet, CMOS clear. No CMOS clear here, but otherwise quite similar. Obviously the GPUs are going to be a little, like the GPUs are the GPUs. This is a big 3-fan 5070 Ti, 3-slot 5070 Ti. This is a standard 3-slot 5090. So it is what it is. Power supply is nice and clean, looks good. Let's open up back. Cryo chamber. This one does not have a cryo chamber. I like that release, by the way. And as we can see inside, nice, good cable management. Big power supply, obviously it's a 5090, so 1200 watt power supply down there. Extra cables, lots of extra cables where needed. Support there. 2 slots for hard drives, so you can slap some hard drives in there. You could technically put a SATA down there if need be. You can mount on here if need be as well. Good cable management. RGB header, RGB control up there. So just a pretty standard, right? To be honest, standard is good. That's what I like. I like to see standard stuff. And here's the little guy, or medium guy. There's a smaller HP OMEN 60 now, which I've already done. Cable management as well. Obviously not quite as much room in the back here because this one's different. You actually have access to your extra stuff on the back and it's separated out. Here it's on the flip side of the motherboard so that the hard drive bays, which you can't see, are actually on that side. Totally different design. I like both. It's just a different design principle. And then you have your RGB stuff there. So now let's look inside. So we can see inside here, this is just like the other stealth one that I did. You have this kind of hideaway here where the cables come out and then run in. It's a nice clean little way to kind of hide the cables there. Very nice. This one came with 4 sticks, so 64 gigabytes. They spec them how you want. This is just mine, 64 gigabytes. You can get them with a different amount. Air cooler on this one here. Exhaust there. You could put some intakes up there, but you do have fans right here, 2 fans feeding in. So you're gonna get front to back airflow, which I actually like that quite a bit. That's usually how I design. You have your single hard drive caddy down here. You could set something on top. You'd have to like double-sided tape it, but you're typically looking in there. This is a massive 5070 Ti, huge 5070 Ti, which is a good thing. 850 watt, and it's a nice clean design on the power supply, which you may not care about, but this is an open style case. So when you look in, you're seeing everything. And look at the cables are really nicely managed down here. Very, very clean setup. And the 850 watt here, it just like, it even has rounded edges. It just looks nice. This is a system that it's like blacked out and stealthed out. And I'd look inside and be like, yeah, that looks sick. That's a giant piece of metal. You'd have to destroy the entire case for this GPU to have problems with shipping. So that's great. I love to see that. That's fantastic. Over here on the big boy 5090, same idea. We have that nice bracket. We'll just jump in the GPU. Nice bracket there, keeping it nice and sturdy. So you'd have to destroy the whole case for this to have problems. That's lovely. Again, 5090. 5090s are typically very big. This is not a small 5090. It's just a 5090. So it's a pretty typical size. We'll look at the GPU in a moment as well. A little bit different, doesn't have that kind of thing on there, but there's also more room in here. This is just a there's more room. It does come with an MATX motherboard, but this one here, you can see there's some screw slots down there. You could actually put an ATX in here. So this is all standard, right? Standard, I didn't say that, but this is standard, this is standard. These are standard parts. What do I mean by that? There's no proprietary power connector, no proprietary CPU. This is a standard motherboard, standard power supply. So you buy this now, you buy this system right now, it has the same benefits as building in terms of, you get this system, you use it for however long. I don't know, this is a pretty freaking powerful system, to be honest. So whatever, 10 years, something like that, something crazy, whatever, 10 years down the road. For some reason, the 5090 is not good. I don't even think that's probably legit, but whatever. For some reason, you get it and you decide to upgrade down the road. You can take out the 5090 or something for some reason. The motherboard is standard, so you want to put in a different, maybe you need more expansion, like you need more PCI in that. You can take out the motherboard here. Everything's standard. Take all the parts that you want out, right? And then you can put in a ATX motherboard down the road, and like a few years down the road, which will give you, those extra PCI slots down here because you decide to do, I don't know, for some reason you decide to do that. Fine, cool, you could do that, and everything slots right back in because it's all standard parts. Standard, 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 standard. There's no difference between this and swapping in off-the-shelf parts. So later down the road, if you want to change things around, customize it, whatever you want to do, you're not locked into this system. That is huge because that was always a critique of pre-builts. People being like, well, the motherboard's not standard and you can't use the power supply, which I'm using with a weird way of saying that, but that's a legit complaint because yeah, you're locked into that system. So, if you spend all this money on this like amazing high-end system here, you're going to want to use it, and then down the road, you're obviously an enthusiast, so you may down the road want to start tinkering with stuff. You may say, I need a bigger motherboard that has, other PCI slots on it or something, whatever your case is, right? Or you want to dabble with the brand new, I don't know, Intel Core Ultra Series 3 that comes out, the 350K or something, I don't know, whatever they invent, and it comes out, it's all standard, so you just slot it in. So being standard is huge here. Okay, so we can see that there. We do also have our AIO. This thing is really cool. Watch this. So if we come up here, this one has this kind of gap in here. And the AIO is not in here. See that? See how clean that is? This is a really cool design. The AIO is not in here. This is a nice contained system. There's no contaminant heat in here. If we come up here, the AIO is in this little bar right here. So this is getting fresh, cool, clean air on its own. It's not sucking up recycled air from the 5090. That is a huge revelation. Gamers Nexus, I don't think you've reviewed this specific one, but they, in the past, they looked at these OMENs and they gave it like a negative. They were too hot. They ran too hot. This was not a thing. Having this in the distinct cryo chamber, whatever they call it, up here, where this CPU is on its own system. It's not sucking up hot air from anywhere else. It gets its own unique cooling, means that the CPU is going to be able to run nice and cool. And this bit, because the 5090 is a hot GPU, right? It's a nice hot GPU. This is going to be exhausting into the case. It's not going to be coming in here and contaminating that CPU and making the CPU hot. That is huge, in my opinion, keeping these two things distinct. So I expect this thing to run nice and cool. The GPU has its own, like everything in here gets the fans here, the 3 fans in the front, feeding it in, giving the GPU what it wants, exhaust here, all these components, they're self-contained, they'll do their own thing, and the CPU is in its own little world up here, keeping itself nice and cool. So I'm a big fan of this design. HP, good job here. I don't know why nobody else has done this. Maybe you patented it, I don't know. Having like 2 different chambers, chamber for GPU and other components, chamber for CPU. Yeah, I don't know. I've never seen this type of design before, and I think it's genius, to be honest. So you take out those screws there, right? And that's going to now release the GPU. You can see it's loose there. Then just the typical, over here. So this thing is in there rock solid, which is good. That's good. I never want to get a system shipped, and I'm sure HP doesn't, that's shipped and then, take shipping damage. You never know how the shipping companies are, if they're gentle with stuff. The fact that the GPU is in here so incredibly solid, and there's really nothing in here that's loose. Like also the liquid cooling, AIO type cooling. I mean, there's nothing in here that's going to be really subject to, being jostled type damage, right? So that's good to see. You can have this ordered with confidence that you're going to get your product as required. NVMe slot 1, NVMe slot 2. And you have your Wi-Fi there. Extra headers up here for more fans because you can put some fans on top if need be. Not too bad. Looking generally fine. Not too many VRMs or anything on this one here. You can see in the backside there. Not a lot of VRM coverage in terms of cooling, but this one here, it only has a 14400F. So it doesn't run that hot anyways. The CPU doesn't need, like, it's not like a 13900 or 14900K or something in here. So, you know, we don't need to cool these VRMs because we're not going to be pulling any remotely as much power. So that's okay. It all depends on the system. If this had a big monster 13900, 14900K in here, I'd want to see more VRM coverage in terms of cooling, but for the spec of board, it's okay. You do have one more PCI type lane down there. Very good. And then you do have a little bit of expansion. I can't really see it there, but you know, you have your cables up there. One SATA port there, so you know it's already wired up, so you can just plug it in. So you put your hard drive in there, you can wire it up. So this is a slightly more basic board. You don't get as much expansion. It makes sense. This is the more budget-friendly 35L, and it's not spec'd out, other than the fact that it's a pretty beefy GPU. You know, the CPU is very moderate here, nothing crazy, but fine, no problems there. Coming over here, obviously, you know, you go one tier up, so you get higher steps of a lot of different things. So we do have one SATA wired up. There's a free SATA there, so you can get two SATA slots in here, two SATA storage devices in here, which makes sense. There's one down there. You have your Wi-Fi there, NVMe 1, NVMe 2. We can see this one also comes with, well, an even larger heatsink, I think. Maybe it's the same, it's hard to tell. Big heatsink regardless, and then one exposed one, so good for operating system, one for gaming, that kind of stuff there. Looks nice. Now this one, of course, does have significantly higher VRM coverage, huge, like we actually have a heat pipe in there, like a physical heat pipe on the VRM cooler there, with then giant radiator stacks, so air is going to flow right through, get through these stacks, and keep things nice and cool, so your VRMs are going to be good, nice and cool. And that's good because this one, you know, beefier CPU, 9900 X3D, is a much more beefy CPU than a 14400F. So this is a stepped up. And again, this does have room for an ATX. So down the road, let's say you want to throw in an ATX, you want to get something with, I don't know, 5 NVMe slots and 6 SATA, and you're going for like a max storage type solution. You know, it's just standard. You can just swap in as need be. So that's good to see there. This lights up. It'll be cool when it's turned on. You'll be able to see that there. You do have 4 RAM slots here, 2 populated. Pretty cool. So it's a nice looking system. Obviously, the 45L with its more robust system specs, you get a little bit more. You get a little bit extra storage and definitely more VRM coverage. So yeah, it's pretty modest MATX thing, but it's also standard. So you can really have no complaints in regards to that. Now the GPUs, let's have a look at those. We don't need to do too much. They're just GPUs. HP has good GPUs. I've actually owned many HP systems, and I've actually bought their GPUs like on their own. People have like pulled them out of systems, and I've just bought them because they're really nice GPUs. I actually rocked, it was like an OMEN branded, I think it was a 4070 Ti Super. I think it was. It was a couple of years ago. And I just used it because it was just really nice. Nice big, you can see there, lots of heat pipes, nice fans here. And these are nice curved to them so they won't be noisy or anything like that. Massive, massive radiator cooling, obviously, very nice. I don't want to take the GPU apart because normally I would take it apart, but this is like an actual review sample and I really don't want to. Out of respect for HP, I don't want to take apart their freaking GPU. We know how these are though. Like we've seen 5090s inside. They're very well done overall. Very nice. It's just a nice big GPU, to be honest, right? And we are set up. It's a lovely tower. Very, very, very aesthetic. It's a big tower, obviously physically big, but it's actually not that wide, which is kind of relieving because it is a large tower. I can, for example, it doesn't actually take up too much space on this desk here. I could actually slide it back. Now I'm going to leave it out because it's a review. I want you guys to be able to see it, but I could slide this back and actually save quite a bit of space here. Typically though, with a large tower, honestly, I actually just put it below the desk, just directly down, and then it's still there, still see it, easily accessible, but it's just not in my filming spot. Most people probably don't care. They would put it up here, but for me, because it's reflective, I wouldn't want it in the background of my film because the camera. But it looks really nice. Very beautiful front there. Obviously nice glass finish. Beautiful when it's in there. It's a very well designed, kind of like stealthy. It has RGB, but it's tastefully done RGB, right? It's not going to be a gaudy mess or anything like that. Let's turn off some of these lights here. See that there's not a gaudy mess or anything, not just spewing RGB. It's just a nice little bit. Some RGB in the front there, RGB out the back there. The RAM glows, and then of course we do have the interior thing there, giving us our temperature. GPU is 27 degrees. I mean, it's a gigantic 5090, so that's great. And there's a lot of airflow, so it's not going to run hot at idle. CPU running very cool at idle too. Now, in part of this, I'm going to do all my testing, temperatures, thermals, and that kind of stuff, noise. We'll do some gaming. We'll do some other like productivity stuff, all that kind of stuff. Check temperatures, all that. Then I'll actually pop this open real quick and I'll use my thermal imaging camera. We'll look inside to see what it's like on the inside in terms of thermals, if there's any hot spots, like bad hot spots. But yeah, we can continue on. So let's just honestly just start the review. Yeah, I've already just been using it, installing stuff. It's a very smooth system. The other thing is it's very quiet. I do not like noisy systems, if you know me. Oh, let me show you something. I'll just hard turn off this. That mini PC was making way more noise than this. It is completely at my noise floor. I can hear that it is on, but really barely. The mic might pick it up more, but I can barely hear that this thing is on. Like I'd have to, if I walked into this room without knowing it was on, like if there's no RGB, I wouldn't know the PC was on. It's very quiet. That's another one of the nice things about a system like this, is because it's not going to have any trouble keeping itself cool. So it doesn't need to run when it's not doing much. All right, so let's test some bench. Okay, we'll look at some of these temperatures here. It can be a little hard to film at times, but that's okay. So we can see, where are we here? Coming down. CPU is running incredibly cool. In some places below 30 degrees. That makes sense. It's not like it's 0 watts. It's idling around 23 or so watts. Very high core CPU. It makes sense, I guess, but it's not running hot by any means. Chipset, nice and cool. Where did that go? RAM, 39, nice and cool. SSDs, nice and cool. Sub 30 in some cases, very cool. Second one, very cool. All looking good. 5090, 27 degrees. That's like, it's like my almost a few degrees above my room temperature right now. It's probably about 23 in here, maybe 24, something like that. So it's obviously not running very hot. It's also not using very many watts. The idle watts is nothing, right? So it's just barely doing anything, and the memory's cool too. So we can see their idle is nice and cool. We'll see when it picks up noise, because right now it's still silent. Dumping in 161 watts. Now the fan's turned on. Let it go for a sec. It's still using high watts, 160 watts, so a ton of watts in there. Obviously the score is going to be quite good. 32,082. It's exceptionally good. Really, you're not going to find many CPUs that can do better than that. Obviously the 9950X and the 9950X3D can do it, and I think probably the 270K from Intel. But yeah, some of those also don't even have 3D cache, so it's different. This is a nice CPU because it's a good middle ground. You get the ability to do professional work, and you get the ability to do gaming. It's not even remotely close to throttling, obviously, right? Still dumping 160 watts, so it's not going to have any issues keeping itself cool. So it's a very respectable, I can definitely hear it, obviously. It's very respectable, and the fact also that it's sitting on the desk, so this is right here, like I can hear that because it's right there, right at ear level. If I put this under the desk, it actually would be a lot, it wouldn't be any quieter, it would make a difference, but it would be less perceptible to me, obviously. So that's cool, and first you can see the temperature in there. And because the CPU and the GPU are isolated, there's no interference between temperatures on them. That's obviously very nice. So we're going to get just infinite scores here. We can check noise, of course, when we're gaming too, but this is an awesome config for professional work and obviously gaming. You can see the incredibly good CPU performance there. Now this system here is going to be an actual monster when it comes to professional work. Obviously, it's a 5090. So if you're doing AI type stuff, obviously it's going to be incredible. It has a 5090. If you're doing things like video editing, like what I do, it's going to be incredible because it has a 5090 and it has a really good CPU. It's going to be a 12-core monster when it comes to video editing. So it's going to be very fast for video editing. When it comes to video export, it has the 5090. What's cool about the 5090? Not only is it a very powerful GPU, very, very powerful in terms of raw power, it has three NVIDIA encoders. The 5070 and below have one encoder. The 5070 Ti and the 5080 have two encoders, which is great, awesome. So those are also be good variants of the system. And then the 5090 has three. 1, 2, 3 50 NVIDIA encoders. So yes, I can benefit from that, but I need to really tax my system. What does that mean? What am I talking about, NVIDIA encoders? Those are the encoders that actually encode the video for exportation. So if you are, like that, if you are exporting very complicated scenes, it's going to be very important. Now, it all depends what you do, right? Like if you do videos like I do, I don't do the most effects. Like my videos aren't full of visual effects. If you use, much more demanding software, Adobe Premiere, all that kind of stuff, and you have all kinds of 3D effects and all that kind of stuff, you're going to be ripping the CPU. Obviously, you're also going to be ripping the GPU, right, for those effects. I don't know if you noticed here, but the moment I put that audio track in there, it basically, or sorry, the video track in there, it essentially fully processed. It allowed the audio to be processed right away, and then what that ended up doing was allowing me to right away start to do some work on it. So let's come in here. I'm just going to show you one more thing here. I'm going to bring in another file. So we'll just grab this one. This looks like it's a Crimson Desert video. I'm going to bring this in here, drop it there. Okay, we're going to go now. I'm just doing it right off the USB. It's fine. It's got a nice fast USB. Now watch this. Watch how fast this processes. Okay, I'm going to bring this down here. New video track here. And you're going to see over here how fast this processes. I'm already able to scrub through. Right, you can see up here, it's already working. Scrubbing through right away. The CPU has enough raw power that allows me to essentially just immediately drop in a file and do work. This is a 4K 60 video, approximately 10 minutes or so. 4K 60 video, very demanding. This is a very demanding task for it to do, to be able to scrub through like this. If you put in a weak CPU, you wouldn't be able to do that until the video was like fully processed and everything was set up. Then you could start to scrub through, but not right away, not like this. So that's really nice. So we're going to come in here. We're going to make this. Well, I want to make it. Oops, I want to make it go away. 10 minutes. So we'll come in there like that. Like so. And you can hear it's very quiet. The fan just kicked in because I'm actually putting a pretty heavy workload on it. Like 4 layers. So this is a pretty demanding video. Now I have AI generated music. I have 4 video and audio tracks. Like this is beyond what I normally do. I don't do this many. I normally have 2 video tracks and then I'll have 1 text track and maybe an audio track on top, maybe. So this is very heavy. This is a very heavy video. 4K 60, 5 stream technically. You can see how fast the CPU has been here. This has not been fighting back. It's way more powerful than the system I use on a daily basis, like vastly more powerful. So it just feels very snappy to me, to be honest. We'll come in here and we'll export it 4K 60. I mean, we can do 4K 120, right? We'll even go higher. I do not do 120 because YouTube doesn't do it. And my system, that's just a lot for my system to do on like a little 5060, 5070 laptop. This is going to be nothing for this. This is a 5090. It's going to be like totally fine. This is the type of system like that people who are professional, like actual professional video editors use. I'm not a professional video editor. I'm a YouTuber, but there are people who are way better at video editing than I am, right? So we'll come in here. We have access to the NVIDIA NVENC encoders, and we have 3 of them, right? Remember, 5070 and below have 1, 5070 Ti, 5080 have 2, 5090 has 3 NVIDIA encoders. So this will be very fast, okay? I've never done a 120 video in my life, so let's see what happens here. I've never had a 5090 to do it on. I owned a 5090 for like 2 days. All right, let's see how fast this goes. This would take probably a 10-minute video on my 5070 Ti desktop would be maybe 3 minutes, maybe 4 at 60 FPS. This is 120, so it's way more data here. And we can see here, the 5090 is just ripping. It's actually not maxing the 5090. It's a 5090. And we can see here, we have, it's everything that's going on here, obviously. It's going to rip through. If you do other type tasks, some programs will be heavier on video memory. This program is not super heavy on video memory, to be honest, so it's actually not a big deal that I have the extra memory here. But the raw computation is very good here. So this is going to take about 2 minutes. Now I do want to do 60 because I don't really know. I've never done a 120. It took less time, or about the same time, to do a 60 FPS video as it did sorry, 120 FPS video as it did to do a 60 on my 5070 Ti desktop, 5070 Ti desktop. So it's under a minute and we're halfway through. So yeah, it'll be about a minute and a half. So yeah, it's obviously faster than my 5070 Ti. 5070 Ti and 58 are still great, right? But it has one less encoder and it's just not as powerful. So this cuts it down by probably about 30 or 40%. Okay, we're gonna test some Pragmata, which just came out. I have been waiting for this to test on the system because I can test path tracing. I've used path tracing on some systems I've used, but it just cripples the systems because they're just not powerful enough. So this will be fun. This will be the first time that we're going to be able to just destroy this game. So we're going to come in here, we're going to go 4K. This is 35, 4K, absolute max with path tracing native. Yeah, it's, I mean, there is no GPU that can get even close to this. You put this on a 5070 Ti, you'll get like 12 FPS. Put this on a 5080, you'll get like 13 FPS. Put this on a 5070, you'll get like 4. Look at that. So it's pulling a ton of power. And I'm actually going to test, I'll probably turn down path tracing because I want to see what happens when we hit the CPU and the GPU equally later, and I'll probably do Cyberpunk or something like that and see what we can do. Because, you know, the CPU is isolated from the GPU. So look, here's the thing that's interesting. Look at this. And I'm going to bring it up so you can see this here. This is a 600 watt 5090. 600 watt 5090, right? That's a lot of watts. That's a 600 watt GPU pumping heat into the system. 600 watt is a lot. But here's the thing. It's pumping heat into the system. This is a front to back airflow case, so it's sucking the air and shooting it out the back. Great. You'd still always have a risk of the AIO sucking up that hot air. Oh, but here's the thing, the AIO is up here. So the CPU does not care what the GPU is doing down here. This is a 600 watt GPU, doesn't care. This was a 1000 watt GPU, wouldn't care. Because it's isolated up here. It's pulling in its own cool air over there, which is a lovely thing to see. And as a result, where's our CPU? 47 degrees. It's not under full load, right? But that's not the point that I'm trying to make here. This thing in a lot of other systems, really any other system, would be sucking up hot air from the GPU, which is not, it's not doing. So DLA, so native, gives us 38. Just quality gives us that much of a boost? That doesn't really make sense. Okay, well, I was thinking we were gonna have to use performance, but I guess not. So that's quality, just quality scaling, just the tiniest little bit of scaling. And this game is like designed to smash every system that you can throw at it. So this is the game absolutely maxed out, everything maxed out, ray tracing, lighting, blah, 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 blah. And most importantly, we have path tracing turned on. And look at that. Above 60, which is quality scaling, that's it, that's all I've done, just quality scaling. It's very, very reasonable. We haven't done anything stupid here. I haven't been able to do this. Like, I have a 4K screen here. I haven't been able to run games at 4K, like this game at 4K with path tracing without boatloads of scaling. So I might actually, like, after this video is done, I'm going to come and explore more, like just how the path tracing looks. Look how good that looks. Like, I'm talking about this. I mean, obviously it's very impressive. It's just quality scaling. And here's the thing. Now, because we have quality scaling only, and we're above 60, you'll hear it here, I will be okay with using FrameGen. However, I would personally probably choose more scaling. Because a little bit more scaling, it visually looks the same. We have a 4K output render here, and the internal resolution, because we're at 4K, with balanced, I believe it's 1440p or somewhere around there, so it's not a big deal. Like, it's still a very, very respectable amount of data going into the algorithm, so it doesn't look funny. It doesn't look crunchy. It looks incredible. This, I mean, this right here justifies why someone would buy a 5090. Right? Like, this is the type game. You buy this, which is a very good game. You buy this game, and yeah, this is why you buy. Look at the effing lighting. It's just, yeah, I played this scene like 30 times on systems that I've been testing over the past few days, and nothing gets close to it. Okay, so we know what, where am I? Lost. We know what Cyberpunk can do, sorry, what a 5090 can do in Cyberpunk with a really good CPU. We already know that. It's been established for years, obviously. It's not shocking. So we'll come in here, we're at Ray Tracing Ultra, whatever. I mean, we can do Ray Tracing Overdrive, that kind of stuff. But I want to make sure I'm hitting the CPU pretty hard. I mean, it is. Okay, so Ray Tracing, was that right? Ray Tracing Overdrive. I mean, we don't have FrameGen on. I want to actually see what kind of scaling we're doing here. Balanced. Okay, yeah, there you go. So ray tracing overdrive with just balanced scaling, no frame gen or anything like that, whatever. And I'm doing this because I want to hit the CPU hard. Like so you can see here, we're hitting the CPU pretty hard. I mean, if we did 1080p, obviously it would be hitting the CPU even harder. If you're doing like Battlefield or something and you were maxing out competitive shooters, that would be fine. You could do that. And that's what the X3Ds are going to be really nice. But even in demanding games like this at 4K, I think Hardware Unboxed did a video about this today, just so you know, with a 5090, there are still many situations where the 3D cache will benefit in a game. And this is the type of game, Cyberpunk, Baldur's Gate, they do benefit. These more powerful CPUs actually benefit the 5090 a lot. And you can see here, it's getting hit. I mean, it doesn't look like it's getting hit, you know, not 100%, but it is getting hit pretty hard. That's quite hard for a 4K type setup here. Okay, I think I waited for longer. I think it's been like a really long time. I got distracted checking out my shorts. Okay, so anyways, it's been running for maybe 15 minutes. I'm not sure. CPU's been running at 79 to 80 watts, and you can see it's just not getting hot. Right, we're running at 60 degrees. There's just no risk of it throttling. Right, it's also not running. The fans aren't running that fast. Right, if it needs to, the fans will run faster. If it was running at higher watts, it would run faster. But again, it's completely isolated here. We have the case here where the case is its own unit here with the GPU and everything, all the components in there, and the CPU is its own separate unit. So it's under no risk of getting contaminated in terms of heat from this 5090. It's a really good design. That's why I keep talking about it, because it's important. Okay, so I'm recording. This is the system here. You can see there's not a lot of heat. Maybe there might be some on the back or something. I don't know. All right, nothing up there. Okay, so we're going to pop this open. We're going to take a real quick look at the inside. There's a giant 5090 and they're running nice and hot, so we'll pop that open and see how well the heat is evacuating out. Okay, here we go. Because the sensors aren't necessarily going to pick up everything. Okay, so we're going to see in here, 12 volt high power. Peak of 77, not too bad. There's some hot there, obviously, on some of the, like, that's just metal. Some of the little pieces of metal there, because it's getting the heat off. Not too bad. It's a front to back airflow, so it's going to be pulling air from here and sliding it over the back of the GPU, which will help keep these pieces here nice and cool that aren't directly cooled by the fans. RAM is, obviously very cool there. Super, super cool there. The NVMe is also very cool. Right, those VRMs. Obviously, we're pulling air directly from the front. The top thing, the nice thing is here, because, the GPU is here. So that's its own thing. This up here, there's no AIO or anything. So this top fan on the front of the case is actually pulling air directly through here and out the back. It is going to pull in a little bit of air from here, of course, a little bit. But it's generally speaking moving air nice and effectively through there. And that's why all these components in this part are running nice and cool. The GPU is obviously running quite well as well. The CPU, can't really see, but obviously it's going to run nice and cool there. Exhausting some hotter air at the top, but still nice and cool. Yeah, so this is a really cool, like physically cool case. And this is great because, in the past, I think it was a couple years ago, I think it was Gamers Nexus, opened up the OMEN and they did a review of the OMEN. They said, there's nothing wrong with this system, but they said it ran really hot. This has completely solved that. It is not running hot at all. It's actually running very cool. Very cool. So HP, I'm assuming, probably watched that video, would be my guess, by Gamers Nexus and said, let's make this thing run crazy cool, potentially cooler than all the competition because it has this piece up here. And it looks like they did it. So very good job here, HP. Very good. I'm obviously very impressed with the system so far. It doesn't mean it's perfect, right? But having that CPU completely isolated from the GPU here, especially such a beast, is something that's very considerable to me. Okay, and that's the review here. HP OMEN 45L is a really good system. I've reviewed the 16L, the little guy. I bought it myself, I reviewed it. I liked it a lot for a tiny little system. It's really good. The 35L, they sent me one, a stealth version, which I reviewed, and I have my own over there, and I really like the 35L. It's awesome for like a mid-tower kind of smaller case. Very respectable. Like those systems a lot. Obviously, the big boy here, the 45L, is quite powerful. They did a really good job here. I mean, it looks stunning. Obviously, it's really nice. Separating the CPU up here from the GPU is very considerable, in my opinion. It's a huge design win for HP. They did a really good job, And they really are listening to their audience. They did a really good job here separating those out, allowing the CPU to have its own cool air up there without being impacted by something like, if you have a 5080 in here, it's going to be warm. But if you have a 5090 in here, 5090 is a 5090, right? So you want to make sure that this thing is able to run nice and cool. I think it's a fantastic design. Visually, it's stunning and it runs well. There's not really much you can improve upon it. They're selling these things for very competitive pricing. As I've said, you can get into this system with something like a 5090, and it's crazy how they're pricing these things out. I don't know how they do it. Maybe it won't stay. Maybe eventually, they'll have to, I don't know, up the price or something. But I'm going to put some links in the video description down below. If I can find affiliate links, I'll do it. If not, whatever, just find it on your own. But they're able to get you are able to get into a 5090 or a powerful system at way cheaper than building it on your own right now. If you go with an HP OMEN 45L, I'm telling you specifically, this one here is way cheaper than I've seen from the competition.